I am Wesley Boy.
And I am Khalib Cartwright. And you know what? Both of us have kept our eyes trained on an NFL camp or two.
Cripe!
This is your new life in a fantasy football world. I forgot what we were called for a minute there. I was still reeling from that intro because of how funny it was. We thank you for joining us once again. Episode 20. We've made it 20 weeks on this podcast.
I haven't done anything for 20 weeks.
I've literally just sat in this chair waiting for the next episode to roll around.
Take a bunch of sleeping pills and then wake up next Monday. It's time.
Oh, thanks for joining us. NFL training camp has started. Can you believe it? Football is like,
dude,
here.
This Thursday, man. First game, Hall of Fame game.
Oh my God, it is here already. I can't even believe it. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't have cable, and I've been looking at all these different streaming companies to see which one I'm going to get for the season, and I can't decide. There's so many of them now. There's like a dozen of them.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I just got my coffee delivery since this thing takes it out of me.
Oh, I forgot you always record at Starbucks, and you're waiting for it to come.
Oh, everyone,
something.
Just laugh and turn this stupid thing off.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ignore what he's saying,
and I'm going to
shut
up.
Into it.
I'll shut my mouth.
Thanks for all the back and forth on Twitter for those that have been chilling with us, and on Instagram. Last week we did a mock draft head-to-head. I don't have to tell you who kind of won that, but somebody did.
Well, good thing the draft was pure mockery.
Good thing, because I'll probably lose in real life.
You know what, Caleb? I'm going to stop you there. Stop.
Go.
I was doing some hard thinking today. This is seriously going to screw our drafts up because there's so many guys I was looking over today. I'm like, I'm really into these guys. I think I can, but like I'm broadcasting my secrets. This is bullcrap, man.
No, I get it, but I will admit that there's a couple of guys that maybe I've held back from commenting on. Maybe there are a couple of guys you like.
Sick. Son of a...
I am a little worried about it. Like, I was thinking on Saturday, I was going to talk to you and be like, listen, no hard feelings, but I might be going after a couple people and you're going to not like me for it. So, peace. Okay.
And then that's when I throat punch you and hide your body in the closet till after the draft.
I don't have a throat. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at LifeInAFFW. If you want to follow us, today we're going to talk about a whole slew of injuries.
Oh, God.
Training camp hype. And we made it to our final team evaluation. I'm kind of getting tired of it, so I'm so glad that it's here.
Oh, this is our last one.
This is our last one.
You started hating it after like the third week. You're like so hyped for it. And then after the third week, you're like, can we do the next like 30 teams next episode?
I just like the fun segments. I think everybody else agrees. Hey, if you don't agree, fine. But hey, again, I'm Caleb. This is Wes. This is your life now. So deal with it.
You don't have a choice. You're one of us.
So I'm introducing a new segment this week. I call it the Random Question of the Week.
Bow, chicka, wow. Bow, chicka, wow. Got a question, send the question. We will answer it. Got a question, send the question. Screw yourself.
That didn't even rhyme. So this is not football related, but let me ask you a question. And this came up the other day. Hopefully whoever sent me this text doesn't know. So I'm in sales in my real world business, and a customer let me tell you, 10 times after I had left his house, texted me instead of his wife by mistake. Many uncomfortable things.
Oh, okay? Yeah! Was there pictures?
No pictures.
Yeah, there are pictures, everyone. Words. Everyone, there's pictures, Caleb.
And every time he would do it, send me a message, I felt more and more awkward. Now, my question to you, is it if it's an uncomfortable text, obviously the person is going to realize eventually that they sent it to the wrong person. Do you, especially if it's someone you don't know very well, call them out on it and just say, listen, send it to the wrong person, thanks though, or do you just leave it alone, let them figure it out, and sit back and imagine the laughter?
I am not undermining your segment. I think this is awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. But right now, that is not top priority. Top priority is what was being communicated. Was it lewd?
It wasn't lewd, but there was a lot of curse words.
Oh, it was an angry thing.
There was anger about the gardener, and there was a lot going on. That's
the
all
gardener.
I know. And at any moment, this was an uncomfortable situation for me.
We got to
and
talk
for him.
about this off the podcast then, because I'm so intrigued about this. I can't even stand it. Well, I've been on the other end of that, unfortunately. I had sent a text message to. I was dating this girl who definitely wasn't my future wife. I'm winking right now, Caleb, since you can't see me. And I was texting her aunt, and she was doing something. And I was like, "Hey, have you been noticing what's going on with her? Like checking up on her?" And it was to actually my girlfriend at the time, and she texted me back, not thrilled about me communicating. And I was just like, "Oh my God!" Like it was the worst feeling in the world. Yes, you got it. If you get a text from the wrong person, especially if they're multiple ones, man. After one, I just be like, wrong number. You got to do that. That's a cinchy answer for me. I would. I mean, you get a sick thrill out of it, apparently.
You're right. I guess if it was one, I can see that. The problem with this guy is like I actually did text him back after each one and say, "Hey, nervous laugh. I think you texted the wrong person. No worries though." And then an hour later, I would get another text. It was so bad. And I'm like, okay. And then finally, in the end, he's like, "I'm deleting your number from my phone." I'm like, thank you.
Okay, thanks for letting me vent. I never want to see you again.
And that was your random question of the week.
Bow. Question. Now, here's a segment for you. It's called, What is Wesley eating during the entire podcast?
No, it's a discovery. We have to figure this out.
I have a bag of sea salted Slender Pop. I have a LaCroix seltzer, an orange LaCroix. I have a coffee right next to me, and these freaking cupcakes I made. Let me just give you a quick rundown on them, Caleb. You got Devil's Food Cake as your base, just a base. You cook those puppies. You stick holes in them, and you put condensed milk mixed with a little bit of caramel sauce in the middle, making it beyond moist.
Wait, you made these?
Heck yeah, man. I'm a freaking bakist. You know that. Guess what I did for the icing, Caleb? I went down to Giant, and I got this chocolate ice. Psych! I would never buy icing. I cooked my icing. Do you understand what that is? Because I didn't. I didn't know you could cook icing. This stuff is like whipped cream on top, man. I put a little toffee on the top, toffee bits, little mini chocolate chips, drizzled it with some chocolate syrup. Gordon Ramsay would freaking drool over these things. I'm pretty sure, though, I've gotten 3 cavities since I started eating it, but it's pretty good. My jaw is starting to hurt a little bit. But.
I'm super jealous. I'm sitting here with a jug of water.
You healthy fool.
All the treats in the world.
Oh, Lord. Just for a 40-minute podcast, I need to be feeding myself.
Man, I guess on that note, we can get into stupid football. If only I had a cupcake to talk about football. But, alas, injuries and nonsense. That's what we're getting into. I'm not excited about it after I don't have a stinking cupcake to eat.
Neither do I, because I just warped that thing down like some sort of starving rabid animal.
So this is how we're breaking it down. We're not just doing news. I wasn't ignoring. I was just moving on.
That's my cue to shut up.
We're not just doing news and training camp. We're kind of melding them together. First, we're going to talk about all the injuries and goings on.
I'm like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. if you just ignore me and don't move, I'll eventually just lose interest and walk away. That's what
But
Caleb
you're
was-
going to scream first.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go, ah! And if you don't move, I'll be like, all right, I'll just go over here and just yell at somebody else.
Oh, should I move on again?
Please.
Okay. First, we're going to talk about injuries, and we're going to get into some hype. There's a lot of stuff going on, and feel free to jump in whenever you want. I noticed the first thing you threw in there is about Melvin Gordon. What do you got to say about Melvin Gordon?
So
How excited are you to draft him?
I don't know, man. It depends on how far he drops. This could be a very intriguing pick, especially this time of year when we don't know what's going on. I feel like the deal is going to get done. They're only $2 to $3 million apart, man. Just a couple millies. A couple millies is going to keep you away from your top running back. It's going to get done. It's just, I can't believe it's not working in Melvin Gordon's favor. You know, you see what happened to Todd Gurley. You see the market for Le'Veon. It was just the Jets and nobody else. If I was him, I'd be pushing for the contract too. But just $2 to $3 million apart, I feel like over the next couple weeks they'll work that sucker out.
Chargers are like historically bad at figuring out this contract stuff, though. You know, it's like they had that with Nick Bosa here. What, a couple of years ago? They just don't seem to be able to get it together. But yeah, so we'll see about Melvin Gordon. But any players at these kind of situations, I'm just steering clear of. Especially you're talking a player that was being drafted in the first round. No thanks.
Let me tell you something though. If for some reason Melvin Gordon would fall to maybe the third round, I'm not saying that would happen, but I mean the reward is so lick-lippingly exciting. I don't know how I mean, you could have a top 3 running back at the end of the year, getting him in like the third round, but he could be a waste of a player as well. So
yeah, that's tough. Very tough. So
risky business.
Next, hey, do you remember what my worry with AJ Green was?
He's an old man.
Yeah, AJ Green unfortunately had a lower leg injury. It looks like he's now out 6 to 8 weeks. Could easily miss the first 4 weeks of the season. 2 things from this. Tyler Boyd, first of all, talked about how terrible the conditions of the field were, and he wasn't surprised more people got injured. So bad on the Bengals for putting their players in such a position. But I don't know if it's great for Tyler Boyd because 2 things. He's going to – I already said 2 things, so now I'm repeating myself. He's going to first move up draft boards, which is bad. And second of all, he just doesn't perform the same without A.J. Green there. Not only that, but the next player on this list too is John Ross, who is apparently nursing a hamstring injury. Now, John Ross is not some spectacular player, but it's just another target, another starting target that's going to be off the field. It's not looking good to start the season for the Bengals offense. What it could mean, in my mind, is AJ Green drops a couple of rounds, and you can get a pretty good wide receiver for the last, 12 weeks of the fantasy season.
Daddy likes. Daddy likes. AJ Green, 6 to 8 weeks. Miss a week or 2. I don't care. Make sure you're 100% healthy. But you better believe that when he comes back, man, you got a guy like you said for the next 13, 14 weeks of the fantasy season. Forget about it. But that's just to make sure it's something more serious. But if it's just this, he's got to rest and he's back to 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was his toe, right?
He tore some ligaments.
Yeah.
But let me just say you some. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you remember Julian Edelman sat out the first 4 weeks last season, and he finished the season in his 12 games as the wide receiver 8. So that is more than a possibility for AJ Green, who is more talented technically than Julian Edelman, at least in a better position.
Yeah, I wasn't doing flipping drugs to get suspended. He's just getting hurt like an innocent little AJ.
If he was doing drugs, maybe he wouldn't have gotten hurt.
I think that's a PSA that we all should be doing drugs so we don't get hurt in everyday life. And if we do, we won't realize it. Now listen to this. When AJ Green was in the game, Tyler Boyd had a catch and a half.
Whatever,
A half is a half. God. Shut up, Wes, and start speaking right. A cat.
Should we move on?
A catch and a half. Okay, listen to this. I'll just speak in numbers. 8.5 targets he got a game with AJ Green in. That's a target and a half more. He had almost 2 receptions more a game when AJ Green was in. He had 10 more yards a game when AJ Green was in, and he doubled his touchdown output when AJ Green was in. He averaged more than 4.5 fantasy points per game with AJ Green in. He doesn't do bad, but he just isn't the same Boyd that we know facing the team's number 1 cornerback. So, yeah, he might rise up boards, but don't expect great production.
Yeah, you said it. It's an unfortunate part because I think especially, well, I mean, they did just extend him with a decent contract, nothing crazy. It was definitely not the highest paid wide receiver, but he was like, hey, I'm going to take this because who knows what's going to happen this year. So obviously, as mentioned, John Ross nursing a hammy. Some people are still high on John Ross, think that he's going to come through, but this is just proof that another player that's too fast for his own body and his legs are just going to explode off of his body.
And let's remember, this is the beginning of training camp. Guys aren't in tip-top shape. You're going to see a lot of pulled hammies. That's classic. Yeah. So I'm looking down this list of guys you had nursing hammy.
I don't even have them all on here, by the way, but what's the next one?
The new segment is Hammy.
Hammies. Who's got a healthy hammy and who doesn't? That's who you're drafting. Damian Williams, unfortunately, among some others in Kansas City's camp, left with a hamstring injury. He's going to be missing time in the offseason. To me, it's not great for a player who is not a locked-in, guaranteed, whatever. Daryl, I don't know why I always forget the name of the player that they drafted, but has been getting a lot of first-team work, the running back that they drafted late. This is my worry about a player like Damian Williams is they don't have a lot of capital in him, a lot of money or anything invested in him. So if he is hurt, it does miss a lot of practice time, they don't mind letting him sit.
Well, I'm not too worried about it. They know what they have in Damian Williams. Confident enough to say he's going to start. Carlos Hyde, he's been in the league long enough to know what he's all about. And then the rookie, he might be getting some more reps, but I mean, Damian Williams is going to start week 1 no matter what. If this rookie's going to take over, it's not going to be from a few extra reps in practice. It's going to be showing what he's showing during the regular season. And if he's good enough, he's going to end up with the job mid-season to end the season regardless. So,
yeah.
I say, I'll say that.
Calvin Ridley, unfortunately, is nursing a hammy. I'm big on Calvin Ridley this year, but hamstrings scare me because they are nagging. It's something
hammy.
If you're not perfectly healthy when you come back to play, you can pull it in one go, and so it scares me for hamstrings. I think it scares a lot of these fantasy players out there. Let us know what you think about some of these guys. Dante Moncrief was injured twice at camp. First, he was carted off, basically walked to the cart and then off the field and came back. And then yesterday, I want to say, left training with an undisclosed injury. So
it was a minor finger injury.
Mm-hmm. They're all minor for Dante Moncrief. And he's on a Colts team that has a million weapons, so they don't desperately need him.
He's on a Steelers team, actually. God almighty.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Colts.
We should call him Dante Minor-Creef for his minor injuries. I got to write that down. That's a classic. Minor-Creef.
Okay, now throw that out. Not last but not least. Second to last, Jamison Crowder left with a lower leg injury. I don't know who all was excited about him, but he was hoping to he got paid big money to go up there, and he had the chance of becoming a number 1 role on a team in that position, in a slot position. So unfortunately, doesn't look like he is going to fare well from this injury. And then finally, somebody that neither of us are high on, which is unfortunate because somebody else in our league was going to end up drafting him early and pay too much. Derrick Henry also left with a lower leg injury, also having his own issues. But that spells some positive talk about some other players that we'll talk about a little bit. Yeah. Anything you want to say about either of them?
Nope.
Cool. Neither of us are big on Henry, so just know that. Let's get on to the hype. Let's talk about who's looking great.
Hype.
Who's looking good.
Hype it up. Hype it up. Yep.
Oh, that's too many hypes. I thought you were going to go 3 hypes. You went 4 hypes.
We're so white.
You ruined it.
Let's hype these. Okay.
Balazs. This is the only problem with doing this when we can't see each other. It's like we don't see the social cues of what's going on.
It would be so bad if we'd see each other.
we wouldn't get anything done.
I'd probably be like, "Hey, look at this." The listeners are like, "What the heck is going on?"
Trying to make each other laugh the whole time. So Kalen Balazs has been running with the ones. Now they've been splitting sometime over the weekend. I don't know. This is like it's mind-boggling, excuse me, like when your mind gets caught in a bottle.
Yeah. So many thoughts.
It just seems like there's no reason that Kenyon Drake can't be the one on that team. It just seems like such a talent. So it's scary when you're looking at, I mean, if Kenyon Drake drops in drafts though, like, does that make you happy? Would you are you still going to grab Drake if, let's say he drops to like 6th, 7th round?
Drake. I don't think he's so great.
No?
I don't like this news, man. I'm thinking it's going to be a much more of a running back by committee than I signed up for here. So, I don't know.
So let's say it evens out. Let's say Balazs, instead of the 10th, 11th, moves up to like the 8th, and Drake moves down to like the 7th or 8th. Which one are you taking a shot on? If you had to pick,
you got to take Drake, man, for that big playability, home run ability.
To me, it's the passing downs, right?
That's
Balazs
right.
does not catch passes. Zeke, still a no-show. Jerry Jones has indicated the Cowboys don't really need him to make a Super Bowl run. So, some bad blood. Apparently, Zeke was some little stupid. I don't know how true it is, but was saying that he was on his way to a Caribbean island. To Cabo. That's the exact place. Yeah. So I don't know, man. That's tough. I have to move him down. You have to do it, right?
Oh man, Dallas will sign him. Jerry Jones is really bad with money. He'll just throw to Ezekiel Elliott. He's just trying to play hardball. He thinks he's smarter than he is. They need Ezekiel Elliott.
But what if your main league is drafting this Saturday?
And
you have to spend $65.
Oh, God. You pray to God that something happens between tomorrow and Friday.
It's
dicey,
right?
man.
I mean, this is the tough part about drafting so early. I hate drafting so early. We don't usually do it. Yeah, we don't usually do this, but schedules have forced us to. Yeah, I know a lot of people
with their stinking families and their family vacations.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
Oh, I have to go to Germany. Oh,
yeah. Guess what's not in Germany? Our freaking draft.
Yeah. It's like we're the only ones that think this is every little bit the most important thing in our lives.
Yeah. Lose your lives and start concentrating on something more important, like our little league.
So, yeah, be careful. Watch it. Zeke is still a stud of running back. Don't be afraid to draft him, but just be aware that he is supposed to, by August 5th, like next Monday, in order to have this year count as a full year and be eligible, next season for his 5th year, he has to show up in camp by next Monday.
Dude, Can you imagine just getting like in an argument with your boss at work? And how you handle it is going to Cabo. That would be so awesome, man. Just like, I'm going to go to an island. Just let me know when you want to give me more money.
Peace out.
Gosh.
I have to imagine Jerry Jones feels a little spited after he stuck up with him and fought the way he did 2 years ago when Zeke was facing suspension.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this isn't even your contract year. Like, next year is. This is you're going into year 4. Come
Dude,
on now.
Rookie's going to start wanting, like, their next contract after, like, their rookie year if it's good. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, the only option they have is to just not show up because they technically don't have an option in their contract to get extended before year 4. So, Jordan Howard is apparently getting the lion's share of the first team reps in the Philadelphia Eagles. He put up a lot of yards on the Chicago Bears, even if he wasn't the most exciting running back to own. It's looking like he's going to be the starting running back on the Eagles team.
That's a lot of running backs on that team, though.
A lot. They even just re-signed Darren Sproles.
But Jordan Howard might be worth a late round flyer, man. Like, his reputation definitely preceded. Like, he had rough years in Chicago. I know people think he had, like, numbers are different. If you had him on your team and started him, you knew the frustration. Maybe it was more Chicago than Jordan. We're on a first-name basis. Big J, maybe it wasn't him.
maybe it wasn't him. It was everybody else.
Hey, speaking of Lion Share, tell me about Lion King.
Lion King? Listen, I haven't seen it yet. I was curious as to how it, like, are you going to see it in theaters or are you going to wait until it's out in video? What is it called now? I'm 1,000 years old.
On one of those VHSs?
On the VHS?
When it comes out on digital.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to wait till it comes out on digital. No big deal. I have a lot of kids. It's a lot of money, and it's, I think I know how it ends. Pretty sure Scar takes over.
You're just
it's
excited
a very
about the new songs.
Morbid ending. New songs. I heard on Alexa, the kids were listening to a kids station, and Lion King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight came on. And freaking Beyonce does what Beyonce does and just took that song over. The poor guy that did the duet, you forget he's even there because she goes off on a tangent like, and he's just like, I don't feel the love tonight. I'm out of here. See ya. But apparently she did good with Nala. And I heard freaking, what's his face? Pumbaa. Is that guy? The guy that laughs like this.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I don't know, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, his name is, oh, cripes, come on. Pumbaa, not Poompa.
Just because you can't type
Seth Rogen.
Oh, okay.
I heard him trying to sing. That was funny, but no, I'm waiting. I heard a lot of good things about it. Totally kicked butt theaters, so whatever. Just a classic. I'm
pretty curious. I'm definitely going to watch it, obviously, but I'm just going to wait as well.
Have we talked about if you're a Disney man or not?
I'm mostly a Disney man. I watch every single animated film with Glee.
With Glee?
Glee.
Cool.
No, I very much like Disney movies.
That's good.
All the animated films. Who doesn't like the animated films? Unless you're like a single older gentleman. You have to be an older gentleman. You can't be just a normal man.
A gentleman with a top hat and an eyeglass with a cane.
Hey, so while we've been talking, I've been looking up Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard is going number 106 overall, running back 37, behind Kyler Murray, Austin Eckler, Geronimo Allison, behind LaShawn McCoy, Royce Freeman. Yeah.
Perhaps a little diamond in the rough.
We'll talk about that later.
Diamond in the rough.
We won't. I don't know if you remember some weeks ago in an earlier podcast, I mentioned before the draft to keep your eye on where Alex Barnes goes. Now, he went undrafted, but he was picked up as a free agent by the Tennessee Titans. And ever since Derrick Henry injured himself, Alex Barnes has been turning heads in camp. As in, he said, hey, and people will turn their head to say hi back to him.
You say, man, he's head turning.
Yeah, that's it. Just saying, as a free player at the moment in draft, somebody you can get for nothing until he really burns things up in the preseason, Alex Barnes is a good running back. I think he's better than his undrafted position, and he's on a team that they have Derrick Henry as their lead back, who's you never know what's going to happen with that guy. So,
are you saying this guy is draftable?
I'm saying keep your eye on Alex Barnes. If you're in Dynasty, somebody probably already owns him. But if you're in a deep league, just let him sit until you know what's going on with Derrick Henry.
Dude, I'm getting excited about Dynasty. Sorry, I just had to say it.
All right. John Brown on the Bills apparently is looking pretty good in camp, connecting with Josh Allen, which is great because he is a big playmaker, down the field playmaker, and that's what Josh Allen can do is throw the ball down the field.
Like the majority I'm sorry.
Now, you like Philip Lindsay, so you want to talk about what's coming next?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it one flipping bit. His stock, man. Woo! Explosive noise. Royce Freeman, man. He's maybe more of a threat than I gave him credit for. The recent signing of Theo Riddick is bad for Royce and Philip Lindsay. That guy will suck up the passing downs and the targets in the passing game like a freaking I don't know what.
Isn't it so hard to look at things from the standpoint of real football?
Yeah, if I was a Broncos fan, I'd be thrilled. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he's a really good, but everyone else is like, oh my God.
Come on.
You're taking catches away in my PPR league.
It's difficult.
But it's true.
The funny comparison, and I put in the docs, is that the offensive coordinator compared Lindsay to Devin Coleman and Royce Freeman to having the Devontae Freeman role. Which, again, is a scary thing for Lindsay when you're drafting him in the 4th round.
Yeah, we know Tevin Coleman was pretty good, but Devontae Freeman was the touchdown / got the lion's share, as you like to say, of the carries. So,
yeah,
crap.
Again, something to watch. And now we're not quite at the preseason, so a lot of you haven't done your drafts. Just keep an eye on it. All that I have to say is Devontae Adams is good and Studley because he is looking to dominate the number 1 role like crazy. And if you draft him, whether you draft him as the first wide receiver off the board or the second or the third or the fourth, you're going to get a value because he's going to get a lot of passes from Aaron Rodgers. He's got to be a safety valve, right?
Yep, someone that you can just rely on to do those 2-3 yard outs. Also, the next note is DeAndre Hopkins is good.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out in training camp, he's good at catching the ball. So I thought I'd put that up there, too.
I heard that. Well, he actually is off the PUP list, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like this could be a breakout year for him. He's really been bust potential.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been too many years with him. I think Will Fuller's got it this year.
Speak about hamstrings. Good Lord.
He's another guy. He's just too fast, too quick. His legs just blow up.
Dude, get your knife and fork out. I got a nice piece of statistical for you.
All right, go.
Dig this. Deshaun Watson averages 1.5 more yards per pass attempt and 7.5 more fantasy points per game when Will Fuller plays.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
What would you take the what percentage would you take of Deshaun Watson being the number 1 quarterback on the season if all 3 Kiki Kuti, Will Fuller, and DeAndre Hopkins are healthy for the whole year?
Ooh.
Like upwards of 50%.
Man.
Let's say the line's at 50%. You take the over or the under.
Under.
He's the number 1.
Under.
You take the under.
Barely under. Dude, the league is changing so much. There's a lot of high-scoring games. Yes, he's a dual threat, but he just had a lot of underwhelming games last year, and that offensive line has not improved at all enough to give him time to utilize his skills. Would you take the over?
That's the biggest worry. I think I would. I mean, even without his first half of the year was a little rough last year, but he still finished very high in the top 5 quarterbacks last year. And if he had a healthy wide receiver core the whole year, Man, that's tough. If anybody's going to throw 40-plus touchdowns, I would think it was him.
I feel like we got to put a wager on this.
All right. I don't even know how to do a proper bet.
Your family.
Let's say, no, I got one. The end of the year, okay? I say, where's the line? I mean, do I have to bet that he finishes as the number one quarterback?
Yeah.
Is that the bet or top three?
Yeah, I was going to say top three.
Okay. So I say, and I'm fine to take that. I'm happy to take that. He finishes the top three quarterback this year. If he does, I'm going to videotape myself pouring a cup of red Kool-Aid on you and post it on social media.
You wouldn't.
It's going to be very sticky.
And that's when he unleashes the mosquitoes.
And if I'm wrong, you can do it to me, and we record it and put it on social media.
I will not do cherry. I will do lemon Kool-Aid, or will it be urine? You won't know.
I'll know.
This Kool-Aid is so dang warm.
And salty.
We're sick. Go ahead.
Hey, okay. So running back that you actually were saying to keep your eye on, Devin Singletary has been getting a lot of first-team reps on the Bills. LeSean McCoy is apparently still not super healthy. McCoy does not have to get a lot of practice to slide into the first position, obviously, since he is the veteran that he is. But Devin Singletary could be a dangerous guy to rack up some carries in that Buffalo backfield.
Yeah, it's just scary about all the competition that's there. It's not a bunch of nobodies. Yeah. It's TJ Yeldon, Frank Gore, LeSean McCoy when he's healthy. I have my eye on this guy for next year for sure, but he could make some noise this year.
Is this a guy, though, that does a few things early in the season, but nothing special, but 4 weeks in, you have a spot that you can spare, and you just grab him to see how the next few weeks play out?
Dude, I don't think you're going to grab him off the waivers. He's going to get drafted, and I would think the majority of leagues. Maybe if someone gets discouraged, you can pick him up.
Trade bait.
Dude, I love a good piece of trade bait.
Trey Quinn, another guy I'm high on, seems to be locking down that slot position in Washington. Now, I know Washington is not a great place to look for offensive talent, but the slot position in a bad offense is more appealing to me, as they have to go there a lot, whether to the running back or to the slot. And I think Trey Quinn can have a lot of value in PPR, and we play a lot of PPR. So look out, man. That's
basically just because we can say PP a lot. We think that's funny.
Yeah, drop the R, and I'm a happy guy.
What league are you? Standard? No, we're PP. Oh, PPR. No, just PP.
Yeah, no receptions, just PP.
It's just
everything.
Per anything and everything.
Last piece of hype is Matt LaCosse. Looks like he has a stranglehold on the number one starting position for tight end in New England. Tight end is obviously a valuable position in New England, especially as Tom Brady ages. So that's another something to look for. If you can grab the number one tight end in New England for cheap, which it looks like you can, yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm not going to be mad at you.
Just be careful. Beware. Dwayne Allen was a number one tight end for the Patriots there for stretches, and he basically did as much as I did. So, not good.
That's true. Oh, I always thought you were successful. So
I've been known to stretch the field.
Hey, well, that's it. We will discuss more about what has been going on in training camps next week. Next week, we're also going to talk about some other exciting stuff. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. Let's get into our final team evaluation as we take on the NFC West.
Make it a good one, or it is the final one.
Do you think one of these teams stands a chance at getting to the Super Bowl?
I'm trying to remember other than my two teams. You have the Seahawks and the Niners?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't know, man. Nah.
The Rams are basically the same team.
Except like the MVP on their team has arthritis in his mother flipping knee.
Well, that's one part of news we didn't talk about, that the team seems to believe that they expect him to have 65% of the passing and the running back work.
Yeah, 65%. Their offense was running off him doing about 85 to 95% of it. I mean, he was the heart and soul. He had insane amount of carries, insane amount of yards.
I guess I'm just feeling better about him, and I'm trying to rationalize it. Trying to rationalize it.
Yes.
All right.
Todd Gurley, $50.
Let me start this off. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you start it off because you have the Rams, who you're already talking about Gurley. So
Rams, Los Angeles Rams. So they're brokenhearted. They got owned in the most boring Super Bowl in the whole wide world. They couldn't do squat, even though they had a million chances, and everyone hates them now because they could have beat the stupid Patriots. So they signed a couple of old dudes. Clay Matthews, big name, last year 3.5 sacks. Maybe a breath of fresh air in his hometown of L.A. Maybe not. Eric Weddle fits a huge need. They lost LaMarcus Joyner to the Raiders at safety, so Eric Weddle, a savvy veteran, comes in to fill that hole. Then you got good old Blake Bortles, who gives them a very good backup. I could see him being a great backup. A starter? Just ask Jacksonville how that went. Then they went to the draft. 31st overall pick, traded it. Their first pick was in the second round. Taylor Rapp, Washington, defensive back. Immediate depth for a position they need big time. And he could start next year. I think he's actually a really good cornerback. Then the guy that everyone knows his name, third rounder, you know him, we love him, Darrell Henderson, projected by some to actually be the top running back in the draft. He led the nation with over 2,300 yards, 25 touchdowns. This guy does not mind a full workload, and if something happens to Gurley, you should be licking your chops if he's on your roster. Rest of the draft was really just offensive linemen and defense, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Caleb, I think you can get... maybe you can't. I think you can. Avoid. Who am I avoiding? And let me just say this. There's no small names on this list.
I mean, you're avoiding the obvious person, I would guess, and Todd Gurley.
Yeah, so let me give you a few reasons why. 65% of load, he's not getting his 22.5 touches a game that we're used to due to his knee. Henderson's arrival, which the Rams have suggested is going to be like a Kamara-like usage, like Alvin Kamara, or Chris Thompson, back when McVay was in Washington, how just get him the ball and give him some space. You've also got to keep this in mind, and this has nothing to do with injury. Both their starting guards and center last year are not on the team anymore, and the guys that replaced him do not have much experience at all. So that offensive line is pretty tarnished. Could play a factor in the run game. Who am I watching?
I'm going to go to the same position. I'm going to say watch Darrell Henderson.
Oh, 1 for 2. What do you know? 50-50 Caleb is back.
Dang it.
That was a good guess, though. He was going to be my original one, but I thought it had a twist. Cooper Kupp. And I just say that because I feel like there's a little disrespect that he's the third Rams receiver being taken. In 7 of his full games last year, the only 7 games he played last year fully, he did pretty good. From weeks 1 to week 5, he was the number 4 receiver in PPR. In week 6, wait, let me rephrase that. If you would average over the 7 games he played, 6 catches a game, 80 yards a game, and 6 touchdowns in 7 games. So you average that out, he would have finished the year, a healthy year, with 91 catches, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. That'll put him ahead of Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs. Let those guys go after Woods and Cooks, guys. Let Cooper Kupp fall to you, and if his injury is fully healed, which apparently they're saying it is, you could be looking at the number 1 receiver in the Rams and possibly top 10 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, I like.
Oh, yes. I know Caleb like.
Let me ask you a question really quick, since you're on the Rams. In what world would you ever think of drafting all 3 Rams wide receivers? Cooks.
I don't know. What world? Kupp. Not Earth. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
They have one bad offensive game, man. You can just chalk up a loss. That's too risky. Now, say they blow up for in the Chiefs game. Yeah, you won the game by halftime, but too risky, man. You gotta put your eggs in different baskets, so to speak.
All right.
10.5.
Just curious.
Over under 10.5. What do you say?
10.5. Under 10 games.
Yep. I'm going with the under.
You're so disappointed.
I thought you were going to go on the over with that. I was pretty pumped about my prediction, but
it's hard. It's hard to predict. I got mad at somebody on Instagram the other day when they predicted the Minnesota Vikings were going to win 16-0. They showed their they showed their NFC North predictions and Vikings said 16-0. And I'm like, you can't legitimately predict any team at any point in any season to get 16-0.
So
that's just not something you can do.
The third team in NFL history to go undefeated is going to be a team that missed the playoffs last year.
Right. Listen, I don't know if it's bold take, whatever it is.
I get tired of these stupid hot takes.
Just can't predict that.
I hate these bold takes like, oh, you know what? That's how they talk usually.
Yeah.
James Conner is going to be the number one running back this year. Saquon's out of the top 10. Okay, you're trying to get attention. They're the Lady Gaga of the world, They throw on a meat dress and everyone's looking at them, and that's what they want. But they don't realize people are looking at them and be like, what is the matter with you?
We're just so football deprived. We just need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let me talk about the San Francisco 49ers. As high as I was on Atlanta Falcons offense last year, I am theoretically equally as high on the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is on pace to be healthy. They expect him back at camp as early as this coming Friday. And the team that they added, right, they're doing everything they can to just add weapons, okay? First of all, second overall, they took Nick Bosa to bolster that defense. But then they took Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd as stud wide receivers in their second and third pick. And they are just on pace to try and just kill teams offensively. If Jimmy Garoppolo can be the quarterback that we hope he can be, what else did they do? In the offseason, obviously, they brought in Tevin Coleman. Jerick McKinnon looks like he's going to be healthy for the start of the season. Matt Breida's there. Jeff Wilson is there. Raheem Mostert.
Moose.
Very, very capable running backs, man. We don't know who the number one is necessarily going to be but nobody's going to run away with it like a stud running back would. But there's a ton of talent there. They still have Kyle, what's his name? Juszczyk, the fullback, who is actually a really capable running back and receiver on his own. Dante Pettis, Marquise Goodwin. We don't even talk about Marquise Goodwin anymore. Trent Taylor. They brought in Jordan Matthews. They have Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne, oddly enough, last year was their number 2 targeted player on the team. Very, very weird. Anyway,
yikes.
Obviously, they have George Kittle. What more could you want in an offense than the pieces that they have? Now, again, it's theoretical. We have not seen them blow up. It's all on paper, but it looks really good. I would be happy to have a couple of pieces of this team. Is it going to be too early to get George Kittle? Maybe. Dante Pettis? Yes. We're happy about that. Who am I avoiding?
I'm going to have to say Tevin Coleman, maybe.
You're right and you're wrong. Again, I'm still...
Running backs.
Yes, we talked about earlier this year. I know you're getting higher on Tevin Coleman. Still not enough, personally, for me to want to draft a 49ers running back. Not where I have to grab Coleman. Give it a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I know in some of your leagues you don't have that time, but give it a couple more weeks. I think you'll get some clarity on whether McKinnon's going to have any role, on what's happening. Matt Breida, a lot of people like Matt Breida the most on that team. So who do I really want on that team?
Let's say Dante Pettis.
You got it again. Dante Pettis seems to have all the talent in the world. And if he can stay healthy, If the quarterback can connect with him, he is the main target. And you want the number one wide receiver on a passing team. This is going to be a mixed team, though. But watch Dante Pettis. If you can get him for a value, grab him, get him, penis.
I think we can all agree Dante Penis is truly rising at an alarming rate, so get him when you can.
San Francisco 49ers over-under at 8.
Under.
I'm going to take the over.
Yeah?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm actually going to take the over. You're
Hell
not disagreeing here. I'm going to take the over. Yeah, I'm happy that I think they can start to take that next step. Not saying getting anywhere, not saying making the playoffs, but yeah, give them a positive year.
Dude, I'm just afraid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, he was not impressive in the games he played last year.
Not last year. The year before he was. He was a yardage machine.
A yardage machine?
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Arizona Cardinals. Oh, this is my last team evaluation. I don't know how to handle it. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm nervous. Arizona Cardinals. Who'd they sign? Old man Suggs from the Ravens. Terrell Suggs, going back to where he plays college. Just a year, $7 million. No biggie. But he's going to provide a lot of pressure on the quarterback down in Arizona, which they need. They signed an underrated signing, I thought, before the draft at least, was Kevin White to a little bit of nothing, former number 7th overall pick. Always hurt in Chicago. If he can stay healthy, it'd be interesting to see what he can do in that offense. I didn't know they did this, but this was interesting. Brett Hundley from the Packers. Yeah. You remember that cat?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, well, that cat now backs up Kyler Murray, and if something happens to Murray, that Hundley can step right in there, man, with his skill set. Jordan Hicks, I think he's a great linebacker pickup, underrated signing. They actually signed Charles Clay, I didn't know about, which he could push for some starting time as a starting tight end. And then, of course, the big thing, they traded Josh Rosen. Totally unprecedented move by drafting a quarterback in the first round high and trading up for him in the 1 year, and the very next year trading him. Insane, ballsy move. Probably is going to pay off, though.
Is it more odd that general manager is still there?
Who knows, man? It's pretty odd. I would say peculiar. How do you say that word?
You got it. That's
peculiar.
Yeah.
Peculiar. Let's go to the draft. Quiet you. Let's go to the draft. Kyler Murray. What a bold pick. But he could turn out to be the savior of the franchise. Number 1 overall pick. We all know that. Big whoop. He fits with Cliff Kingsbury's system. Only problem I have with him is with his playing skills. With his playing ability, running the ball a lot. It's just he's a small guy. He gets one big hit, he might be out for games. So that's the only thing that scares me. 2nd round pick, Brian Murphy. Great cornerback out of Washington. Arguably the number 1 cornerback in the draft. They need cornerback depth. Cha-ching. The draft pick they got from the Dolphins for Josh Rosen, they drafted Andy Isabella from Massachusetts. 5'9", 4.3 40 speed. I feel like out of all the wide receivers that they drafted in this draft, that he's going to make the biggest impact. He's got a lot of Wes Welker in him, I'd say. You know, white guy receiver, so he has to be Wes Welker. But they still need a big receiver. Well, guess who fell to their laps in the 4th round? Hakeem Butler out of Iowa State. 6'5", 227 pounds. He's going to be perfect, man, for that big receiver that needed filled in that offense. I'm going on about this draft, man. They knocked it out of the park. 5th round pick, Deontay Thompson, safety out of Alabama. He was arguably the best safety in the draft, man. He could have went 1st round. 5th round they got him. And why? Well, he was diagnosed with something like a degenerative knee condition, okay? You got him in the 5th round, though, so very low risk. They took another receiver, Keyshawn Johnson, if you can believe it, out of Fresno State, out of retirement. Who am I watching? I'd be surprised if you got either of these.
Really? Oh, so that means it's not the guy that you were already excited about before. Christian Kirk.
Good guess. Andy Isabella.
Oh,
He's fast.
that was my next guess.
He's undersized. He's going to be a perfect slot receiver for the team, but not just receiving. And he's that perfect guy that you can do sweep plays to. He played running back early on in his college career, so he's dangerous in open space. He's nice underneath routes, man. That's a rookie's best friend. A nice check down to a speedy wide receiver. Again, just watch him. Dynasty leagues, get your hands on him. But this year, I think he could make some noise. Not enough for you to maybe draft him, but someone that you might want to pick up halfway through the season. Who am I avoiding, Caleb?
Kyler Murray.
Put your hands together for my brother from another friggin' mother. Caleb nailed it. Kyler Murray. I like where this cat's coming from, but he's still a rookie. Everyone just chill the freak out, man. He still has a lot to learn in the NFL. He still has a shaky offensive line. The majority of his receiving core has just been drafted. They still got to learn everything.
A Hall of Fame career.
Other than Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, everyone's basically a rookie at receiver there. Guess who else is a rookie? Their head coach, who was fired for an underwhelming college season. Too many new pieces, man. And to be drafted ahead of Jameis Winston, Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott, Phillip Rivers, nah, brah. Nah. 5.5, over under.
I'll give him 6.
You rat ass.
I don't know. I
enjoy
feel
it.
I know
You
what
enjoy
you're going to say. It's just so hard to take that few wins on a team that had 3 wins last season.
I know. I know. That's where I think they're going to go over 5.5.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, I thought you were going to disagree with me on the Rams or the Cardinals, and we agree.
We got the 49ers.
We always have the 49ers, won't we? Okay, Caleb, wrap us all up, buddy. Take us home.
All right. The Seattle Seahawks. Man, they have had some success through the years, especially fantasy success. There has been some good players coming out of that team. So, where are we? In the draft, they took defense, a guard, defense. They're trying to shore up the other side of the ball. They took a great defensive end with a late pick. They didn't have another pick until round 3 where they got their linebacker. There's a lot of talent on this team. The only problem is, where is the offense going to go? Russell Wilson had a very odd season last year. His rushing is down. His passing is down. He was way too efficient to repeat that way again. On the wide receiving core, you know what's really funny is right now, the depth chart I'm looking at, Tyler Lockett isn't on this team.
They cut him.
Apparently. Okay, Tyler Lockett is the clear number 1 receiver on this team, unless I haven't heard anything in the last 10 minutes. DK Metcalf. They drafted a very athletic specimen when it comes to a wide receiver. That doesn't always equate to NFL success, but he's definitely a player to watch. I'm never a big fan of wide receivers in their first year, but again, Dynasty, it's a good place to be. I'd say look out for David Moore. David Moore had a scary good season for where he was on a team that really did not pass a lot. Less than 20 passes per game. It wasn't a lot. But they do love to run the ball. And who do they have? Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, J.D. McKissick, C.J. Prosise, Homers, Bo Scarborough, Adam Choice. They have a bunch of running backs, a bunch of capable running backs, and we know that their head coach, Pete Carroll, loves to
fart.
All of a sudden ghost your favorite running back one game and play everybody else. So be careful. Doesn't mean that it's not a value, but Chris Carson is going in some early rounds. Be like my man Wes here and decide to go Rashad Penny in a later round. You might be a lot happier come the end of the year.
Penny for your thoughts?
What about tight ends? Will Disley, can he repeat his random success from last year? Nick Vannett, Ed Dixon, George Fant. it's hard to say where the value is going to be on this team. This is almost one of those wait and see sort of teams before you start investing a lot of capital. To me and anybody but Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson even, again, having a very off year last year, had success, but in an extremely efficient situation. So who am I watching?
I will say an old lad by the name of Tyler Lockett.
That's like the only obvious choice. I can't pick him.
Okay. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Not Metcalf, is it?
It's tough, man. No, it's not Metcalf.
Okay. I surrender.
Okay, you surrender. Okay. I'm actually saying watch David Moore, okay? You can get him for nothing, all right? DK Metcalf is a rookie. Tyler Lockett can only do so much. If there's anybody else in that team that's going to catch balls, it's going to be David Moore. He shined in a couple of games last year. He has more experience on the team. For a free draft pick or a waiver pickup, David Moore can return some great flex value. Who am I avoiding?
Chris Carson?
Yeah, I unfortunately am avoiding Chris Carson because...
Yes! Last one, baby! Put your hands together because I got the last one of the year!
He got it. Why am I avoiding him, though? Oh, because there's somebody named Rashad Penny sitting right behind him just licking his chops at his opportunity to prove himself as the only necessary back on that team. Again, and I said this last week, I don't think Chris Carson is going away quietly, but I do think Rashad Penny is taking over that number one role on a offense that probably is going to run it more than any other team in the entire league. They're over-under. By the way, I always forget about this part. 8.5. What are you taking?
Oh, man. Over.
Oh, see, I'm taking the under.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just think they're kind of going back to a resetting, not like rebuild, but resetting type mode where they are figuring out their pieces, and this is going to be an off year. If you remember, they made the playoffs before at 7-9, so they could still make the playoffs, even if they don't hit their over/under or their line. So, yeah, that's what I'm taking. That's it.
Very good, very good. That was fun. I think I enjoyed it a little more than you did, Caleb, since you soiled your diaper every time we had to go over this. But I think that was a nice little wrap-up the week that preseason starts. Well timed.
Oh, yeah. We did it. We did it somehow poorly. That's it, though. We're done that. Next week, we are going to talk a little bit about our main auction league. We get to talk about a real draft.
Dude, can you believe this time, our next podcast, we're going to be done? That's so exciting.
I wonder which one of us is going to be super sad going into that podcast.
Oh yeah, if there's no episode up for next week, we both bombed it.
Yeah, no good. But
I don't want to talk about how LeSean McCoy is my number one running back.
Well, if any of you are in auctions anyway, you'll really enjoy it. You'll get to see how much people in a year after year league, we have a trophy, we got all that stuff, how much people are really spending for some of these players. I have drastically changed some of my outlooks, and my rankings are going to... I'm not changing my rankings, though, before that draft, by the way. I don't want you to look at them. So, not going to change my rankings until after the draft, so you can be very teased as to who I'm targeting.
I hope this doesn't turn the listeners off, but this has put me into the hyper state of arousal right now. I am fully excited about this draft. It is the first draft of the year. I have a hard time containing my excitement. This will be the longest work week of my life. Okay, I hope this isn't too lewd for the podcast.
Just do it.
You know where I'm going with this.
Let
it's
it go.
Much like your wedding night. A lot of build-up, and before you know it, within seconds, it's over. And you're usually there looking at your team in tears, crying over what just happened, and swearing to your team, I swear this draft has never happened like this before. I swear it's the first time. I swear I've never drafted 4 quarterbacks. It was an accident.
We're a 0 quarterback league.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So,
yes, I'm
I just
very
gotta-
excited. So look forward to it, everybody. It's going to be awesome. Cool.
I have a little question for you, Caleb.
Yeah, hit me.
Maybe a little trivia.
Mm.
I am typing right now into Google random fact. Okay.
The words random and fact.
Yeah. So can you,
Oh, okay.
when a giraffe sleeps, could you tell me if it lays down or if it sleeps standing up?
When a giraffe. I'm going to say laying down.
Oh my God, man. I'm reading this. These giraffes, if I was a giraffe, I could get so much done. Giraffes sleep, and when they do, they curl their necks and sleep while standing for about 5 minutes at a time, sleeping no more than 30 minutes a day.
What?
God, no wonder they don't do anything fast. They're
That's
like
the
sleep-
craziest thing I've
It says
ever heard.
they almost never lie down because of vulnerability to predators. They usually sleep standing, sometimes sitting, and they give birth while standing. Yeah, they
You know
sleep
what?
5 minutes at a time, no more than 30 minutes a day.
This is a typical dad answer, but that tells me they're a bunch of lazy animals.
Go get a job. Stop
Just
living
take a
off the
job
government
so
at
you
the
can-
zoos.
You're just sleeping all the time anyway. You're not even tired. You got to go work out or something. Lift
Go
some
play your
weights.
video games. Get out of your mom's basement.
Oh, I'm going to go eat some leaves. Well, maybe eat some meat. You wouldn't feel so bad. Yeah.
Put down
All
some of
right.
those hippie vegetables.
Hey, thanks everybody. Don't forget, like, rate, and review. It really helps us. So do that. All right.
Yes, we got to throw.
Tell your friends, tell your mom, and tell everybody.
Yes.
They're
Now,
drafting everybody out here.
Caleb, take us out on. Why don't you take us out on something funny, like a noise or something?
Okay.